He went on approximately 2,000 auditions, not across a full career, before the career started. Between 1977, when he arrived in New York City, with no significant credits and no particular reason to believe the city was waiting for him, and 1985, when ABC cast him in Moonlighting, 2,000 rooms where someone on the other side of a table looked at him and said, "Not this one." 2,000 no's in 8 years. 2,000 times a person in a position of authority looked at what Walter Bruce Willis was offering and concluded it was insufficient for their purpose. What do 2,000 no's do to a person? The easy answer, the answer that every inspirational narrative reaches for, is that they build resilience, that they teach persistence, that they are, in retrospect, the necessary suffering that produced the necessary strength. The harder answer, the more honest one, is that 2,000 no's build something more specific than resilience. They build a very precise understanding of what you are not, of every category you fail to fit, of every type the industry wants and which you are not. And that understanding, the accumulated 2,000 rejection understanding of what you are not, is, paradoxically, the foundation of the only thing that made John McClane possible. John McClane was not a type. John McClane was the deliberate, carefully constructed anti-type, the man who was not the action hero, who was afraid and sweating and bleeding and in his bare feet and outgunned and saying things like yippee-ki-yay with the specific, uncomfortable intimacy of a man who has no dignity left to protect. He worked because the man playing him had spent 8 years in rooms being told that he did not fit the available types. He understood the available types with an exactness that came only from having been rejected by all of them. And when he stepped into a character who was, by design, none of the available types, the understanding was in every frame. That is the story nobody tells about Bruce Willis. Not the stutter, though the stutter is real and important. Not the bartending, though the bartending is real and important. The 2,000 rooms. The specific education produced by 2,000 no's. And the film that was possible only because the person who made it understood, from 2,000 carefully attended lessons, exactly what it was not supposed to be. Have you ever had a period of your life that looked from the outside like failure, that registered internally as failure, but that was, in the only accounting that eventually mattered, the most comprehensive education you ever received? Because that is what 1977 to 1985 was for Bruce Willis. Not the prelude to the story. But Idar Oberstein comes first. And a boy who could not finish a sentence until he stepped onto a stage, who discovered in that discovery the first thing he was absolutely certain of. Walter Bruce Willis was born on the 19th of March, 1955, in Idar Oberstein, West Germany, where his father David was stationed with the United States Army. His mother Marlene was German, from Kassel. When David was discharged in 1957, he moved the family to his hometown of Carneys Point, New Jersey, a working-class township in Salem County, where the expectations for the children of blue-collar parents were practical, specific, and grounded in the reality of what a working-class town in New Jersey offered its residents. David Willis became a welder and then a factory worker. Marlene worked at a local bank. Bruce was the oldest of 4 children. The stutter arrived around age 9. He has described it with a specificity that belongs to someone who spent years inside it. He could not complete a sentence. Certain words were simply unavailable to him. The mechanics of speech that most people take completely for granted became, for Bruce Willis, an obstacle course that he navigated every day with varying success and constant self-consciousness. His classmates called him Buck Buck. He was elected student council president anyway. The social intelligence, the humor, the quality of someone who could make a room feel at ease was present before the stutter was managed, which tells you something important about the hierarchy of his gifts. And then he joined the high school drama program at Penns Grove High School. And the stutter stopped. He has described this as phenomenal. The specific word he uses is phenomenal, and the way he uses it carries the weight of a genuine encounter with the inexplicable. A boy who could not complete a sentence outside a stage, suddenly completing every sentence once he was inside a character. The mechanism is well understood now, the cognitive load shift that occurs when a person speaks as a character rather than as themselves appears to bypass the neural pathways where certain stutters originate. But the understanding of the mechanism does not diminish the experience of it. For Bruce Willis, age whatever, 14, 15, 16, stepping onto a stage and finding that the sentence finished was not a technique. It was a revelation about who he was and where he functioned. He graduated from high school and did not immediately pursue acting. The revelatory quality of the stage did not translate in 1968 to a clear path. He worked at a chemical plant. He was a security guard at the Salem nuclear power plant. He transported workers at the DuPont facility in Deepwater. He started a rhythm and blues band and played harmonica. He enrolled at Montclair State University in 1973 in the drama program, left after 2 years, and moved to New York in 1977 with the specific, unhedged commitment of someone who has decided that the half measure is no longer available. He was 22 years old. He had a partial drama school education and a bartending license and the specific confidence of a man who has been the funniest, most socially fluent person in every room since he was a teenager and who has now arrived in a city with several million people who are equally confident about the same thing. He took a job bartending at Cafe Central on the Upper West Side, a restaurant that was, in 1977, a gathering place for people working in the New York entertainment industry who recognized each other across the bar and who were, for the duration of a drink, exactly the kind of people who could change your life. And he auditioned 2,000 times, over 8 years. He has said this figure himself. He has described it without apparent resentment, not as a catalog of injustice, but as a description of how long it took for the right room to appear. The auditions were for commercials, for off-Broadway productions, for television pilots, for roles of every size and in every genre. In the first 4 years, he received essentially nothing. Small commercial work, the occasional day player credit on a soap opera, the specific invisibility of a performer who is not yet good enough for the industry to know what to do with. In the last 4 years, he received a little more, slightly better rooms, slightly more interested people on the other side of the table. The specific kind of attention that means you are approaching the category rather than still outside the building. The category he was approaching was not immediately obvious. He was, by every conventional showbiz metric, a leading man, physically compelling, charming, with a specific blue-collar ease that the camera responded to. But he was not the leading man of 1980. He was not smooth. He was not commanding in the formal, studied way that the decade's films were requiring of their leading men. He was funny in ways that the decade's leading men were not. He was specifically, irreducibly himself in a way that the camera captured, and that directors and casting agents in 1981 and 1982 and 1983 could not locate a category for. The category found him in 1985. ABC was producing Moonlighting, a romantic detective comedy about 2 private investigators who argued constantly and were clearly in love and would probably never admit it. A format that required the male lead to be quick and funny and capable of genuine feeling and capable of hiding the genuine feeling behind the quick and funny, and which required all of this to be happening simultaneously and with enough ease that the audience received it as natural rather than performed. The auditions went on for a long time. They went through many actors. They arrived at Bruce Willis. He had been in New York for 8 years, auditioning for 2,000 rooms, accumulating the precise education in what he was not, and he stepped in front of the Moonlighting camera and was, for the first time, exactly the type the production needed. Because the production needed a type that did not previously exist, and he had spent 8 years becoming the living definition of it. Moonlighting ran for 5 seasons. It was the most watched show on American television within a year of its premiere. He was paid $1.5 million for the second season. He was 30 years old. It had taken 8 years. Have you ever done something for so long that the thing you became in the doing of it turned out to be exactly what the moment required, not the thing you were trying to become, but the byproduct of the trying? Because that is what the 8 years between 1977 and 1985 produced. Not Bruce Willis, the television star. The specific, unrepeatable combination of blue-collar ease, genuine humor, physical intelligence, and the inability to be anyone except himself. The combination that a certain kind of film had been waiting for, without knowing it, since the action genre had calcified into a set of types that were all variations on invulnerability. The film that needed what he had built was Die Hard, 1988. Nakatomi Plaza. 12 heavily armed men, one cop, no shoes. The role had been offered to everyone, literally in the accounts of the production, to every significant action star of the decade. Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Burt Reynolds. They passed. The studio was nervous. Bruce Willis was a television comedian. The budget was $28 million. The specific thing that Willis brought to John McClane, the specific thing that made Die Hard not just successful, but historically significant, not just a hit, but a genre-defining text, was the 2,000 rooms. He understood from the inside what a man looks like when he is in a situation that is above his pay grade, and he knows it. He understood, from 8 years of not being the right type, what it felt like to be assessed and found insufficient. He understood, from Carney's Point and the chemical plant and the nuclear power plant security job and the bartending, the specific quality of a working-class man who is competent and capable and not particularly interested in proving it to you. These were not acting choices. These were things he had. He was afraid in the film. Not performed afraid, actually afraid, or something convincing enough to be indistinguishable from actual fear. He bled. He sweated. He said things that broke the fourth wall of the genre in ways that the audience had not been offered before. The quips, the self-deprecating asides, the running monologue directed at nobody in particular that constituted John McClane's relationship with the impossible situation he was in. It worked because the man delivering the monologue had spent 8 years delivering monologues to rooms that were not going to give him the part, and had learned, in those 8 years, how to be genuinely funny in the face of a situation that was not going to resolve in his favor. Die Hard earned $83 million domestically. Its cultural footprint was immediate and has not diminished. Every action film made in the subsequent 30 years that features a reluctant, fallible, essentially human hero is in conversation with Die Hard. The genre had John Wayne and Steve McQueen and Clint Eastwood and Charles Bronson. Then it had John McClane. The difference is the 2,000 rooms. The decade that followed produced the commercial career in its most realized form. Pulp Fiction in 1994, Butch Coolidge, not the lead, but the character who carries the film's most unexpected emotional weight, chosen by Willis because he understood what Tarantino was doing and wanted to be part of it for reasons that had nothing to do with his normal salary. The Fifth Element, The Sixth Sense, a performance that required him to do something he had never been asked to do in a commercial context, be completely present and completely hidden at the same time, to give a performance of such apparent openness that the audience never noticed the one thing that would change their understanding of everything they had seen. He did not ask to have it explained to him at the beginning of the shoot. He asked M. Night Shyamalan what his character wanted, and then he played what his character wanted, and let the audience discover, at the end, what his character did not know. Unbreakable, Armageddon, 12 Monkeys. Each of them a different room, a different genre, a different set of requirements. Each of them met with the specific, adaptable intelligence of a performer who had spent 8 years learning that he could not know in advance what room was going to need him. The years accumulate. The marriage to Demi Moore, from 1987 to 2000. 3 daughters, Rumor, Scout, Tallulah. The marriage to Emma Hemming in 2009. 2 more daughters, Mabel, Evelyn. A family whose configuration, 2 marriages, 5 daughters, 2 wives present in the same photographs, has been, over the last several years, the most visible expression of something that the American tabloid culture did not expect and has never quite known how to categorize. A family that chose, in the hardest possible circumstances, to hold together. In March of 2022, the family issued a joint statement. Aphasia. The word appeared in headlines around the world. The condition, affecting the ability to speak, understand, read, and write, was described. The statement was signed by Emma Hemming Willis, by Demi Moore, by all 5 daughters. It said, "We are moving through this as a united family." It did not say how long the symptoms had been present. It did not say what the mornings looked like. It said united. In 2023, the diagnosis was revised. Frontotemporal dementia. A more specific, more severe, more permanent framing of the same underlying reality. Emma Heming Willis has spoken about it publicly in the years since, with the careful, calibrated honesty of a woman who is both living it and committed to making sure that other people who are living it feel less alone. She has said, "I thought it was the stutter coming back." She has said he never connected the dots that he had this disease, and I'm really happy about that. She has said, "I just get transported when I see that twinkle in his eye or that smirk." He is 71 years old. He lives with his family. 5 daughters, 2 former and current wives, the specific architecture of a family that was built across 2 marriages, and that has, in the years since the diagnosis, demonstrated daily that the architecture was not conventional and was also not fragile. Demi Moore is in the photographs. Emma Heming Willis is in the photographs. The 5 daughters are in the photographs. Together. Because the man at the center of the photograph is worth being together for. There is something in the story of Bruce Willis that the 2000 auditions and the Die Hard franchise and The Sixth Sense reveal, and that they cannot contain entirely. It is the quality that Emma saw when she described the twinkle and the smirk. It is the quality that his first wife saw across a marriage that ended and produced 3 daughters and a co-parenting relationship that the world did not expect to work and that has worked across 3 decades. It is the quality that the camera has always seen, and that the characters he played were always, at some level, expressing the specific, undefended, fundamentally incorruptible humanity of a man who never found a way to be anything other than exactly himself. The stutter that stopped on the stage. The 2,000 rooms that said not this one. The bartender who noticed what the room needed. The actor who went to a carpet in his bare feet and made the audience believe he was afraid because the part of him that understood fear was genuine and available and had never been too proud to let the camera see it. The husband who was good enough at being a husband that both the women he was married to are in the same photographs. The father who gave 5 daughters a father they can still hold on to, in different ways, across the years since the language began leaving. What is the thing you are? Not the thing you are trying to be. Not the thing the industry or the culture or the available categories have made room for, but the irreducible, specific, non-negotiable thing, and what would happen if you gave a room 2,000 opportunities to not want it, and kept offering it anyway? Leave a comment below, because that is the question Bruce Willis answered with 8 years of bartending and auditioning in New York, and the answer was John McClane. And the answer after that was 50 more films, and a family that stayed together, and the twinkle and the smirk that Emma still sees. If this story found something in you, subscribe and tell me in the comments, which Bruce Willis performance do you think shows who he actually is? Not the most famous, the most honest, because the most honest performance he ever gave may not be in any film. It may be in the way the family formed around him in the last 3 years and the way he is present inside it.